Looking forward to this one. Seeing the next step along the way for Zach Phee and the progress perhaps that he's been making in between fights. He's up against
seconds out, round one.
In Darwin Martinez tonight. Martinez has only been stopped by the likes of Tom Welland and Andrew Kane. Really good operators. One a young prospect who's probably not far off a title, the other who's just won a title in the shape of Andrew Kane. So those are the types of fighters who've been able to get to Martinez, Andy. So I think it's a tough ask for Zach Phee tonight. I think plenty of people will be hoping that he's tested and likely taken the rounds.
Yeah, I think that's the whole point of this, really. Because as you outlined there, Martinez absolutely knows what he's doing. A Nicaraguan fighter now based in Europe. We've seen plenty of those in the last few years. Looking back through his record, he actually went to the World Youth Championships back in 2016, won a fight and then lost to Otabek Kolmatov. So, as is often the way with some of these away corner guys, he's mixed in some really good company, boxed at a really good level, and I think he will ask some questions. And it's 8 rounds as well.
Yeah, up to 8 for the first time. He's been in 6-rounders more recently, Zach Phee. And I think Martinez has come out tonight with a bit between his teeth. I think he fancies this job one way or another. So Fee's just going to have to be switched on. Nice jab there from Phee, and again just prizing through the guard.
Little feint with the front foot and then straight on to the jab. He's just creeping in, isn't he, Martinez? You watch that front foot and he's just inching in bit by bit, looking to get close enough, tuck up like he does there, but looking to get close enough and then let his hands go.
And there he did, exploded into the right hand, didn't he? And that caught Phee slightly unawares. He's up for it tonight, Martinez, he really is. And there are a few guys on the circuit, aren't there, who have the ability, have a little bit of back form, and if they feel it, whatever it is, if they feel it on any given night, then they can cause an upset. And I think Martinez is feeling that tonight.
I think he definitely is, and as you said a few minutes ago, you look at the fighters he's been in with, the ones that have stopped him are very strong fighters, but he's gone down the stretch with some really good ones as well. Nate Collins, for example, in February this year, 8 rounds, and there's plenty of other fighters on that list, and he'll look at someone like Zach Phee and just think, you're not of the same standard as people I'm often in with. You're 19, you're undefeated and untested. This could be a good chance for me to get a W on my record.
You can see the concentration on the face of Phee. The jabs worked well for him. He just clipped with a left hook there. And Martinez flinging some leather tonight. Some of the action from the first round where you saw Phee was working considerately behind the jab, but it was those explosive bursts from Martinez that were taking the eye. Clipped him with the right hand. I think he caught him with a left hook in there as well. So he might have to step it up in the second round. He might just have to maybe put him in his place a bit. Remind Martinez of the supposed pecking order here.
Yeah, I think so. And as you mentioned,
corners, 10 seconds.
Martinez is to really plant that lead foot and climb into a left hand. He's looked for that left hook.
Seconds out.
If you look at the
round 2.
right-hand side of Fee's face, there is some reddening there. That right glove has been up where it's needed to be most of the time, so that reddening, a lot of it will be from the glove cannoning in to the side of the face. You see it there, he's got it glued to that right cheekbone, that right temple, and he needs to keep it there because that really is what Martinez is looking for. Probably needs to get a bit busier with the jab, Phee, go up and down with it a little bit and just occupy Martinez, make him think about what he's doing, because I make you absolutely right. I do think that the Nicaraguan has looked at this right from the off, has fancied it.
I think maybe getting him on the back foot might be half the battle for Phee if he can do that. There's little glimpses at the start of this round that he might be attempting to. That fast 1-2 will help him in that regard.
But again there's that guard. He's got that tight guard up and he's just moving in, trying to move that head at times. He does offer a lot of body when he does that though, Martinez. Strong looking right hand there.
Yeah, he clipped him with the right hand, didn't he? That went right through the guard. And that momentarily just rocked Phee back on his heels. Again, he managed to ride that shot, just glanced his cheek to one side, but there is a bit of reddening on one side of his face, and that is indicative of a couple of these heavy shots that are getting through. So this fella's proving a bit of a nuisance early on, and Phee's going to have to find a way to put him back in his box.
And he's much more experienced over this kind of distance, Martinez, as well. He's got a lot more rounds under his belt in his career than Phee has, and I think that's why they've chosen him for all of the reasons we've been talking about, that this is supposed to be a test. Great left hand there, though.
Oh, he did. It was a wicked left hook. He caught him off the combination, and suddenly the fight is turned around. He's taken every second of that, Martinez. That was a wicked combination. It was a terrific shot. Nearly hit him when he was down as well. He did well to just step back, and the referee managed to get in. No rerun of Paddy Donovan against Crocker of recent times. Well, that is exactly what he needed, the young man. It's exactly what he's needed, because this was just in danger of spiralling out of control.
Nice right hand to the body. You took the words right out of my mouth there. That was exactly what he needed, because Martinez was beginning to walk in, and to just clatter him with a left hand like that. I was going to say they'll make him think twice about closing the gap quite so quick, but I don't think it has.
He's straight back at it. I think that was low. Well, he's going to meet fire with fire. He has come in tonight, and he is full of the business, Martinez, and it's now Fee's job to stop him. Did he willingly go backwards, Phee, or was he just rocked? Either way, an important round that. Martinez is still bouncing on his toes all the way back to the corner. He is feeling it tonight, but he was feeling the power of Phee, who rocked him off a combination with a wicked left hook. Might get a chance to see this again.
Because there he is with that high guard. He's moving in. He opened out to throw the right hand. It wasn't quite there, but that's what he's looking for all of the time in that second round particularly. And he got that nice strong right through earlier in the round. It's a terrific fight, this. That was a great round, because, as you say, Martinez responded really positively. When the bell went at the end of the round, there was a quick turn on his heel, marching back to his corner. I think he's annoyed that he got caught, but as you were saying, that was what he needed.
10 seconds.
I wouldn't say Martinez was really starting to get on top and bully him necessarily, but
seconds out.
He had the wind in his sails.
Round
and now
3.
He knows that he's got to be maybe a little bit more careful than he thought, because this kid in front of him might look like he's about 14 years old, but he can crack a bit.
Well, all sport is about momentum, almost always. Boxing is the one sport where momentum can be changed and overturned in an absolute instant, and it is unique in that regard. But it was just starting to build one way. Not quite the script I think many of us were expecting tonight, let's be honest about it, but a wonderful reminder of what boxing can produce, how unexpectedly it can unfold, and we've had a little bit of that so far through the first few rounds. Might just need to remember his feet, I think, throughout this Phee. Bit more agile, bit more foot movement, because there's no doubt that Martinez is full of the business tonight.
Good right hand there from Martinez. He has to stay absolutely focused and on point all the way through this, Phee. It's one of those fights where to keep something like this under control, you have to work really, really hard. You can't admire your own work at any point. You've got to move off every single punch that you throw, because look at this here. Martinez just looking to back him up and pin him along the ropes in the corner, and he'll keep working hard here and keep this tempo high for all 8 rounds. That opening round, there probably wasn't loads in it. The second round was a 10-8 because of the knockdown, but this is going to be very, very competitive.
And certainly he's giving the impression, Martinez, that he's not feeling the power. He's giving the impression that he's going to walk through it. Whether that's true or whether that's a bluff remains to be seen. This is good from Phee. That's what he needs. Get his shots off, then move your feet, and then reset and go again. I think that's what he needs, and he's managing to employ those tactics perfectly now.
Good right hand, good counter right hand there from Phee, and then just rolled away to his left-hand side, and that's exactly what he needs to do, because this pressure from Martinez will be unrelenting, and he has to pick his punches, create those angles, and just keep him turning and keep him moving. And this is going to be a proper test of his gas tank here, Zach Phee, as well, isn't it? Because Martinez, as we know, he's got the stamina to do 8 rounds at a proper pace.
I think he's just maybe starting to read Martinez a little bit, just starting to ride the shots. I think he's seen them coming now, and maybe a little bit of the wildness and the intensity of Martinez. Maybe not quite as effective as it was, say, about a round and a half ago, but let's not speak too soon. There's plenty of dice to be thrown, I think, in this one yet. Yeah, there you go again. Wild hooks from Martinez, and despite the composure and seeming control, such as it was from Phee throughout that round, just a reminder towards the tail end of it that there's still plenty of fire in this Nicaraguan.
It was a good round for Phee, though, wasn't it? I thought he was really nice and disciplined there, and he picked his punches well, and there are gaps there because Martinez is still looking to land big shots, isn't he? He'll throw that lead left foot wide and look for that big right hand over the top or down the middle. Hasn't looked for the left hook quite so much in the last round or so as he did at the start of the fight. So Fee's got to be absolutely zoned in and aware of everything that's coming back at him. But he knows that there are openings there, and there will continue to be openings there.
Fascinating fight, wonderfully, unexpectedly so. We're so used, Andy, to be ringside for fights like these. Where you see one side of the card, you see the other side of the card, and there are. It's not wrestling, they're not preordained dance moves, but there is an expectation of how, to a degree, it will unfold. Now and then, the script gets torn up, and Martinez is absolutely doing his best to do that tonight. As we move into the fourth then at halfway.
The belief that he's sticking to here, Martinez, is that he can get to him, that Phee will slow down, particularly in the second half of the fight, and that could prove to be the case. We don't know yet, we'll find out, but that's what he has to be thinking, and that's what he has to keep believing.
I'll tell you what the matchmakers are thinking right now. The management teams, Johnny Clark sitting ringside, probably sitting on his hands, is that this could be absolutely perfect. It could be absolutely perfect, but there is just the knife edge that has been tread right now. But it could be perfect in terms of what you gain, what you learn, what you get out of it, and of course winning on top of it.
I think if you're a bit nervous as a promoter every now and again when you're trying to build a fighter, that's a good thing, because, as you say, you want them to be tested, you want them to be challenged, otherwise fighters can stagnate. And they've been careful with him so far, but I think they've got him good fights against different kinds of styles. He's done plenty of rounds, and this guy, because of the attitude he's brought tonight, I think is a step up from everything that he's faced so far. You look at his record and you wouldn't think that would be the case, but as we know, records can be very, very deceptive on fighters who box out of the away corner. But he's come to win, Martinez, and I wonder how many of Fee's opponents prior to tonight have done that, because he's come to win right from the start.
He absolutely has. Well, there you go, Phee. Just managed to move off to one side, then clipped him with the right hand. Study and concentration. He manages to ride that right hand from Martinez. And while Martinez is an ever-present danger in front of him, the actual moments of real danger have subsided a little. The intensity and desire and meaning is still in front of him, though.
There was a lovely sneaky uppercut there from Phee just a few moments ago. Little step off to his right-hand side, found the angle, and just checked his chin. Not loads on it, but that is a punch that he is maybe open to, Martinez. As he comes forward, his weight is quite heavily on his front foot, and he gets that guard up high, but the elbows flare away from the body. But again, he's just going to set his feet and swing believing that at some point he's going to get through.
And that's where Fee's just got to be a bit cuter. He held his feet there. He was trying to stay in the pocket and ride those shots, and it was working for him. But they were so wild and so many of them that ultimately he couldn't contain all of them. And he got clipped really with a shot that I think the Rumbos in the corner will be furious that he's getting clipped with those kind of shots. And there's another little right hand on the end just before the bell. He was clocked with a right hand on the side of the head. So worrying moments return for Zach Phee.
I think he felt that one at the end there, because I was just looking at him as he went back to the corner, and he's okay, but I think that final punch just left something on him for a few seconds. And you're right, he does have to be careful, because Martinez is climbing into these, isn't he? He's putting absolutely everything into them, and if he does walk onto one, he could have a big problem. They do leave gaps because he's not throwing a lot straight, is he? He's just setting those feet and hauling these big shots in from wide, left and right.
I'm pretty sure Billy Rumble in the corner there, he'll be saying to him,
Corners,
you got to pick your
seconds.
moments. If you're going to punch with this guy, you've got to choose your moments, because you can. He's
Seconds
swinging,
out.
and he's swinging for the
Round
rafters and the
5.
lights, and so if you're going to punch with him, you've got to choose your spots and your spells. So, read on, McDuff. What on earth is coming our way now? This is totally unexpected. He's become a little bit of a drama show, and I'm not sure anyone in the Zach Phee business were expecting that tonight, but certainly Darwin Martinez has, and he's given it plenty, and he's given himself a chance again, courtesy of a few shots he landed. It'd be frustrating for Phee, because he was seeming to measure and control the fight through that round again, through the first 3 quarters of it, as he had done in the previous round. So it looked like he was building a bit of control and momentum, Andy.
It did. And then just a couple got through towards the end of the round. I thought that overall still it was a pretty good round for him. He's just keeping it longer, isn't he, in this round so far? And there's a big commitment from Martinez. I was just about to say, when you do that, what you make the other person do is really come in from a long way out, and that's when he can pick him off. He doesn't need to be trading at mid-distance, does he?
I think they're both getting into this, now. I think they both relish the challenge and are relishing the fight. After that right hand that he copped on the bell, Phee, he just nodded towards Martinez, and just there in that little exchange as he clipped Martinez, there was a little smile and a grin between them as well. I think they're enjoying this challenge, they're enjoying this matchup, they're enjoying this moment, and my goodness me, it's making good for the fans too.
There was a good right hand from Martinez. He managed to ride it just enough, Phee. But again there he finds that right hand himself, Phee. When he just curls it in round the back of the guard, he's had some decent success with it. It's been a little bit more circumspect from both of them in this round so far, but there's been some good stuff. He again just looks to rip in that left to the body, followed by the right there, Martinez. They're big wide shots, aren't they? If he could just stay calm, straight punches here, and what'll do the damage for Phee.
Exactly right. Again, he was wonderfully composed and controlled throughout all of that, and then just tried to punch with Martinez, and he just got clipped with one of those roundhouse rights. So I think it's the same story again. Just got to be absolutely switched on, choose when you're going to punch, and feet. Easier said than done, of course, in the heat of the moment, and that's why this is such an important learning fight. 7th fight for 20-year-old Zach Phee. You'll see, remembering his late grandfather on the front of his trunks as Martinez comes in again. He might have clipped him, although with Phee sort of dipping under the shots, difficult to see how much impact there was on those, but again Martinez giving the impression that he's landing heavy shots and he wants to land more.
And he's finishing the round strong here again, Martinez, and a couple of them definitely got through, because it's that longish right hand that I think sometimes travels a bit further than Phee thinks it's going to, and it catches him. He hasn't quite gauged the range of it yet, and then there was a left hand in there towards the end as well. So this continues to be a really interesting fight, because Phee has got good technical skills, and for most of that round they kind of stood off each other a bit more than they had done, and Martinez was just a little bit more wary than he had been, but then he got to work at the end of the round there and landed some good shots.
It's very similar to the 4th round, wasn't it? I think at least 3/4 of the round there was measure and composure for Phee. He was controlling the action, controlling the narrative and the story of that round. But then there was a late surge. Was that late surge enough to sway any of the judges ringside, those watching at home, and the referee in between? That's the question. I would have thought not, but that's up for debate.
No, same. And this is all down to referee Sean McAvoy's card. But 3 to go. He's got to try and keep that tempo high, hasn't he, Martinez? Yeah. He has to, because he's the one with the experience in this stage of a fight.
Well, 39th fight. 33 more than Phee, 32, 33 more than Phee. So, yeah, he's got a vast wealth of experience, and he's usually tough. He knows how to go the rounds, and it's taken titleists, effectively, or would-be titleists, whether it's kind of British or level, or maybe even slightly better, to get him out of there in the last couple of years. So the fact that Phee had him on the deck, the fact that he's hit him hard on so many occasions, that's a good sign for Phee. But I think more importantly now is ride the bumps, because there've been a few. See, I think that's fine. Those are fine when his body angles are deflecting the shots. He sees those coming. Those might look troublesome on the telly or from the top of the balcony, but those moments are fine. From a Phee perspective, those aren't.
And it's that right hand again. I mentioned it before that it seems to travel a bit further than he thinks it's going to. He was on his way out when it landed, and it was maybe more of a balance issue that, as he had to back up and try and sort his feet out, but he just gets caught by that right every now and again. And that's the kind of punch that will make a little bit of an imprint on the mind of the referee who's scoring this. It's been really competitive all the way through. Good combination again there from Martinez.
Yeah, I think he might have just hurt him there. It was a right hand and then a left hook, and those were some of the best punches of the fight so far from Martinez, who is just a little bit more composed in his attack now. It's been wild and intense throughout, but just a bit more measure, maybe slowing down the pace. Whether that's because he's feeling it, quite possibly. But actually, this could help Martinez in those exchanges. He's looking dangerous again.
He is, and I think you're right. I think the fact that he's just decreased the punch output a bit and is picking his moments a bit more, I think it is helping him, because he's managing to just cut the ring off on Phee and making him work hard. He's making him work hard here. Some blood coming out at the end of the nose there of Phee to match the blood coming out of the end of the nose of Martinez, which has been coming for a little while. I feel like he needs a strong finish to the fight, Martinez, because up until this point, I'd say this is his round, but up until this point, have there been any obvious rounds for him? There have been rounds that he could have won. I wouldn't say there have been any that have been too obvious, and there is a 10-8 for Phee in there as well.
No, I'd say this is the closest since the first. I think he might have won the first round. It was up for grabs. He was down in the second. He's certainly having a go at the end of this one, though. And he's given himself a chance, Martinez. He is cock-a-hoop. He's on his toes. He's bouncing in his corner. He's absolutely full of the business. Exactly how he started the fight. I think you could have given them the fifth, but I think that's the closest he's the first I meant. But I think that round, the sixth, is probably the closest he's come to outright winning a round. There was those moments at the end of the fourth, fifth, and prior to that he gave himself a squeak, but probably an outside squeak. But anyway, could be immaterial. The way he's landing some of these shots, either way, Zach Fee's in a fight, and it's going to get hard through these last couple of rounds. He needs to control himself mentally and physically.
It's set up brilliantly for this last 6 minutes. It really is, because
round 7.
Martinez will know that he needs this last couple. When you're away corner, you know you're probably up against it in terms of getting the nod, and that's just how it goes. And I do feel like Phee is ahead here. I think he's boxed well. I think this has been a terrific fight for him. Maybe he has got caught a few times when ideally he wouldn't have been, but that's all part of it. That is all part of it, and he's in with a decent operator here.
Yeah, there's been a little bit of drama, a little bit of jeopardy throughout, and often in these matchups, 6-0 against the journeyman, often jeopardy doesn't enter the building too often for fights like this, but it's been ever present in truth. And it's Martinez trying to come forward again. Spoke to Phee last night, actually. A very level-headed young man, very diligent as well, puts in all the work. He landed another right hand there, Martinez. That really did send the sweat spraying up into the lights. But surrounded by his family, I was going to say earlier on, his grandma's ringside. His grandpa actually passed away in December, and I think the family as a whole, they actually went and spread his ashes on Thursday, just a few days before the build-up to this one. But Grandma Christine, she's ringside tonight alongside Mum Claire and his girlfriend Lema ringside as well. I suspect some sweaty palms, Andy.
There will have been at times. Certainly he just got clipped with a left hand there, but he's boxed well in this round so far. There's that right glove up where it needs to be, but that straight right hand just gets through there from Martinez. But he's been nice and busy in this round, as he has been in every round so far. And a big question has been asked of him here tonight, which is, can he box at a good pace? Can he keep that technique together? Can he focus on the matter in hand? And I think he's answered those questions well, actually, because this is what he needed. This is what we wanted to see him in, isn't it? Basically, a good fight.
Well, in and amongst all the moments of drama, there's been real class and control and smooth boxing, hasn't there? And that's been the majority of the night, I think, for Phee. But that's a wicked uppercut. Did he land it? Or did he just manage to take some of the sting out of that, Phee? Another eye-catching shot there from Martinez.
I don't think that got through full force. I think it was half blocked or half missed. His back was to his Phee, so it was kind of hard to tell. But he's looking to let go with that right hand, and it's that mid-range there. This is where he doesn't really need to get involved, because this is where these big wide hooks can come into play. He doesn't need to mix it up with Martinez at that kind of distance, because that's exactly where he's dangerous.
And that was better from Phee, trying to keep Martinez on the back foot. But yeah, when they're swinging away in the trenches there, that's not a good look for Phee. You're just giving Martinez a chance that maybe you don't need to give him. Kind of story of the fight. Really extended periods of smooth boxing and control from Phee, and then some wild, dramatic cameos from Martinez.
There's that right hand that he managed to get in around the back of the guard. That's been a really effective shot for him at times, but it's that kind of range there towards the end of the round, that sort of exchange where ideally he wouldn't find himself in those positions and wouldn't mix it. But as we've been saying, it's very easy to point out what somebody should or shouldn't do.
Corners,
when
10
you find
seconds.
yourself in there, you're going to be in these positions where the tactics and what you would ideally do don't really apply. And when that does happen, what he has showed us is that he's happy to have it with someone, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's done well not to panic, Phee. I think that there's moments tonight where he really could have allowed this to get somewhat out of control, to really spiral. I think the way that Martinez has gone about it tonight, that could easily have happened. So he's done well to kind of rest it back when he needed to. And that's the important thing. And there's plenty to go back and nitpick and fine-tune going forward. But the important thing is to see out this round, to win it, and get the job done.
And he's taken some shots too. He's taken some shots.
Box ticking tonight, Andy.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you who will be watching this with interest, maybe a smile on his face, Danny Boardman, who was due to be on the card later on tonight. He got flu, so he was unable to fight. But Danny Boardman has already mentioned in the last couple of weeks that he and Zach Fee's a fight for kind of down the road. Well, I think Boardman will be watching this with a bit of a smile on his face, thinking, happy with this, happy with that idea. But we'll see.
He got caught with the right hand again there, Phee, as he was just disappearing along the ropes. Just caught him on the way out, and just for a split second there, his feet underneath him didn't look quite as organised as they have done at times. I don't think it actually really hurt him, but Martinez gets through with another left hand, and he's going to keep coming forward right until the end here.
They have traded big shots. They traded right hands in this round. Really stiff jab from Martinez. That was a lovely 1-2 previously from Zach Phee. Back comes Martinez. Now it's Phee who clips him with a right hand. I think we're going to have a pulsating end to this one. That's a good jab. Plenty of shouts for Zach from ringside here and up on the balcony. I think they've been well treated. I don't think there was anyone here. Matchmaker, promoter, corner teams. I'm not sure there was fans. I'm not sure there was anyone who quite expected the underlying drama that we've witnessed here tonight through these 8 rounds. It's been fantastic.
It has. It's been a really good watch right from the start because, as you said from the beginning, you picked up on it straight away. You could tell that Martinez had some wind in his sails, that he fancied it. He thought this could be the night where he could go out there, put it on a young, inexperienced, fresh-faced looking fighter and take him to hell and back, basically, and get the win. And he's going to continue to try and do that right up until the final bell, which is coming any second now. It's been such a good watch, this.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Martinez praying to the boxing gods, kisses the canvas. Well, you are at your concert, you're entitled to do that. Whether he's just loving his own commitment to the cause tonight, or whether he genuinely believes that he won it. If dramatic moments won fights, then you could give it to Martinez, but dramatic moments don't always determine fights, and I think on balance, Phee did what he had to tonight, while reminded about how difficult and hard this game can and will be.
It's really interesting looking at the two corner teams at the end there, because Martinez started to celebrate, his trainer started to celebrate, so the Phee corner respond, they get him up on the shoulders, and then Martinez's trainer is like wagging his finger at the rumbles, and then he turns around to the officials at ringside to say, listen, you need to score this properly, it's all on the referee, of course.
I think I just saw Billy Rumble pat his heart and his chest, and a little whoop.
Well, it was very, very competitive all the way through. From where we're sitting, he's done enough in enough of the rounds there, Phee, to get the win. But Martinez had big moments towards the back end of a number of rounds, which could see somebody go the other way with that round to the way that we've seen it. But for me, it's a clear enough win for Zach Phee, and actually on the scorecard it might be a bit wider than the fight actually was.
Yeah. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of boxing, we go to the referee scorecard. Referee Sean McAvoy scores the bout 77-74, and your winner, still undefeated, Zach the Singapore Cat Phee.
I think Andy called it. It might seem 3 rounds between them. It might seem rounder than the action perhaps was at times. But if you were to judge it second by second, minute by minute, it kind of makes sense. But either way, the best learning curve, the steepest learning curve of Zach Phee's life, no doubt about it.
No question, and you see Martinez just storming out of the ring there. He's absolutely livid. He felt like he did enough, and that tells you how determined he was to win and the frame of mind that he came to the ring with tonight, which is always great to see. 77-74 is 5-3 in rounds plus the knockdown. I think that's pretty much a spot-on card, to be honest, from what we saw. If you give Martinez the first, if you give him that 6th, and if you give him maybe one of the final 2 rounds, I think that's how you get there. It was a great fight. It was a really good fight, very competitive right from the beginning. I felt like he did do enough to win it, but that will have been more useful to him, I think, than all his other fights put together.
Absolutely. I think the only way you can say Martinez won, he put a lot into it. He was tremendous value tonight. He was terrific for all of us. But the only way you can have him winning is if you count, say, 30 seconds of work at the end of a couple of rounds as more important than 2.5 minutes of control prior to it.
Agreed.
And I and Andy don't quite see it that way, but Tell you what, that was unexpectedly wicked, wasn't it? I wonder what Zach, Phee and John Rumpel make of it. We might get a chance. Billy's up there as well. We might get a chance to find out now. They're without
Zach, you moved to 7-0. That was your first time over 8 rounds. How did you feel in that?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's the first proper fight I've had, I feel, apart from maybe my debut, but I felt like he was in there to win. He wanted it as much as I wanted it. And, you know, I had the better box and I landed a knockdown and I got the win. So I'm happy with it. I thank God for getting me the win. I'm undefeated still. And I'm going to go again and keep improving.
Your opponent definitely came to win, that is for sure. He gave you some tough rounds in there. We saw quite a change between the first and second round. You got the knockdown in the second round. What were the instructions that you got that changed it round from what you saw in the first round?
You know what, yeah, I'm not going to lie. We've been working on this shot loads. Like that right hand, we've seen him be dropped with it in the past. And we've been working on it on the pads, you know, turning it properly off my feet, the technique on the shot. So, you know, it literally just happened as it happens in the gym.
And Billy, let's bring you in. A great fight for us to watch. Maybe less enjoyable for you in the corner, but what were the instructions you were giving him to get him through those tough times in that fight?
I feel like I've done 8 rounds myself there, Ali. No, do you know what? Zach, I tell everybody, and people think I'm lying, but he's the most disciplined kid. You know, like, he's intelligent, he listens, he lives the life, he trains so hard, and he's only 20 years of age. What people don't realise is he only had 16 bouts as an amateur. 16 bouts as an amateur. He's 20 years of age now. He's pro. He's just had a good test there and dropped a real tough guy. And when I say this kid's going to go, he's going to do things in this sport. We're going to take it slow. As I said, he's only 20, but he's disciplined. I've had some stuff going on in my personal life that he's dealt with very well, and other fighters give you excuse. This kid gets down, he knuckles down, trains hard, and he deserves all the credit he gets, because I'm telling you, he's a good kid.
Well, it was a fantastic performance tonight. This is your second outing of 2025 already. How soon are we going to see you? Are you going to have a bit of time out, or are you going to go straight back in the gym?
I've got to speak to my coach Billy, my manager Leon, and everybody around me advising me to answer that question.
Well, as always, huge support in here for you tonight. Final word to them.
Thank you all. Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it a lot. You know, it's Mother's Day. You know, a lot of people are missing out on plans with their mums to be here. You know, my own mum was coming, but she's laid up ill in bed. So yeah, you know, happy Mother's Day, Mum. And thank you all for coming out.
Well done tonight. Remain undefeated.
Thank you. Thank you.